lads, we're back again. UFC Fight Night. I don't know what number. I'm going to say 106, but I don't think that's correct. But of course, we're here for Vinicius Oliveira versus Mario Bautista. This one's a bit more later because a few different bets I need to wait on. So that's what we're going to have here. Last week the lock landed very decently, my ad. Other than that, we weren't too bad on the card. I wouldn't say there was anything that special, but let's not waste too much time. Let's get down to the lock of the week.
Alabarki, Poland, Michal Oliveira.
Yes, lads. This week's lock of the week is going to be Michael Ojacek, I think is how you say it, but let's just call him Big Mike. Now, Big Mike here has a very interesting record in MMA for me. It really kind of looks very interesting. The reason I'm picking round one, especially because he's moved to the Fight Nerds, is that he has 13 first round KOs and then 1 second round sub. He is someone who either blows the gas tank like Terence McKenny, he kind of goes for a full out, goes for it in the first round, and if that doesn't work, it's over. Good night, Irene. To me, I don't think Mark-Andre Barnett can hold someone as explosive as Michael Ojacek out of the first round. Let's call him Big Mike. He has lost to Joe Pfeiffer in the first round. Dustin Sturvas finished him in the first round. Of course, he did elbow Bruno Silva. But then again, you have a few different people that have been able to finish him in the first round. Especially recently, Joe Pfeiffer has power and so has Dustin Sturvas. But just to me, I think Michael Ojacek's real sort of explosiveness will just kind of make or break this fight. And I think it's going to come up trumps for the first round. I won't say KO or sub because I think both were very likely. I think he has a bit of a sneaky submission game, but we will look at the matchup. Yeah, Michael Ojacek's average time in the octagon 6 minutes to 10 for Mark-Andre Barnett. Same height, same reach. Strikes landed per minute, actually Mark-Andre at 5.7 to 5.3. Striking actually is a bit higher, and then obviously the takedown and submission games are more there for the likes of Ojacek. Of course, Ojacek has been able to finish GM3, Dumas with an armbar, both inside the first round. They both have lost to Sure Bullet, and yeah, realistically, I just think round one, the explosiveness Ojacek gets in there. I think he gets it done pretty quickly. Submission is what I'd lean to, but I'm not going to pick that 100%. I'm just going to go at round one, and we will go down to the favourites. So we move into the favourites here, and of course I can't remember Big Mike. Yeah, as I just said, he's going to win probably in the first round, hopefully in the first round, by being able to take the pressure and just bring it to Mark-Andre Barnett and break him. Next we move down to Kenya Higuchi. Now Higuchi is coming in it must be 4 months since his last fight, so he's coming back in very, very quickly. But I do believe that the man is very, very likely for a sub/a decision. So sub or decision. If you have it at 4-9, Amina Bazi's never actually been finished, so I think Kenya Higuchi could be the first one. He's like a turtle. He's a little slimy submission artist. He's a small little powerhouse who can wrestle very well. They are actually the same height at 5'5", so I couldn't really say that he's small. Doesn't really look like a 5'5" when you see him. He's just jacked to the gills. So yeah, he should probably be able to just take this down and control the fight if he's not able to get the finish. I think the decision's very likely at 30-27 is what I would argue is probably going to happen. But we'll move next into Claudia, to be honest I forgot how to say her name. Claudia Sergula. Now Sergula's 1-1 in the UFC, and she's fighting Priscilla Caceres. No, Priscilla Caceres 5-7, and the main reason I'm going no distance here, in her last 4 fights, she's been she was submitted twice in the third round, knocked out. Like, she got a knockout in the first round and knocked out in the first round. I don't think Claudia Sergula is really that good of a striker, but it seems like one of these things where she has also been finished and she has quite a few finishes on her record. It just seems like one of these things where I can just see one of them cracking, and more than likely it being Priscilla from probably not really a massive amount of damage. I can just see kind of a bit of a fold from an overall career of damage, not the damage on the night, if you understand what I mean. Just kind of strikes from an overall kind of just the career's over is kind of what I'm thinking here. Darren Derlinchenko was the Ultimate Fighter winner. He's coming in to fight Alex Morono. It's kind of sad to say what happened to the Great White, because to be honest, usually I'd be a big Great White fan. It's just I can't at the minute, to be 100% honest. It's quite a hard one, quite a hard sell, so I'm going to be very realistic and just say that I can see Alex Morono losing in the first round. I'm really not going to give him much of a chance. He lost to Carlos Sale in basically a fight that looked terrible straight off the bat. He's lost to Nico Price, Daniel Rodriguez. He did beat Court McGee in 2024, but I think there's just too many flashes in the pans. 3 losses in a row, bad finish in his last one. I think I'm going to be pretty realistic that this is probably the end of Alex Morono. So Danny Delichenko by sub or KO or sub, I think he gets it probably done in round 1 or 2 more than likely, just because I think Alex Morono will just break. I don't think that's going to be exactly Danny being that good, just think he's going to break. So we'll move down to the underdogs. And this week's underdogs are going to be Gina Samoto. We'll start with Gina Samoto. Gina Samoto is fighting Farid Basharat. These boys both have 14 minutes and 13 minutes inside the octagon at 17-1 versus 14-0. The only loss on Gene Atsumoto's record was to Rob Font in a very, very close fight, which Farid Basharat wouldn't win either. There is a 2 inches in height between them, 5'6", 5'8", and a 3 inch reach advantage goes to the way of Farid Basharat. Now, the striking numbers at 5.4 to 4 go in Gene Asamoto's favour. Doesn't really have the striking actually, and he also absorbs 5.4 times the strikes in overtime. They both really good at takedowns. I can just see Gene Asamoto doing more in the judges' eyes, to be honest. I think this is a very, very close fight. I can just see the judges being a bit more wowed by Gene Asamoto, and I think that's what it's going to be. I think that a 0 will actually be snapped just from Gene being a little bit more impressive and just the way that it's going to look. Next we moved on to a bit of a rogue pick. I think the other 2 of these in here are a bit rogue, but I am going to go with Nico Price. Nico Price has obviously not won a fight since 2024 against Alex Moreno, but at the same time he fought Terence Gimbo in a pretty close fight. If we're being realistic to what was kind of expected coming in, Nico Price was meant to be rolled. He really didn't against someone who pushed for top 15. Jacob Smith is 10-0, and look, expectedly he was going to lose that one. But the Morono fight looked good. And then he lost to Robbie Lawler in a few. Look, I'm not trying to make much of a claim. It's just, to me, Nicola Volokent, whatever, however you say his last name is. He's 1-3 in the UFC. His Paleno Seriano performance was terrible. He barely beat Francesco Perardo. Still don't think he did. He lost to Austin Vanderfield. Lost to Danny Barlow, of all people. Sweet mother of God. And the only people he's beaten are just regional scene lads. Like, he lost to Michael Morales and Tony Wayne. No issue to that. He's really only been able to beat the regional scene level. I can still see Nico Price being able to come in here and just outwork him. Just work him as a veteran, to be honest. I think his chin... Both chins here are very chinny. Both of them are. You can see in a lot of fights, especially when Perez Siriano started to crack him. He dropped Verkov once, and then it looked very, very close. We'll just go look at Verchenov. He didn't knock him down. Sorry, that's my own fault. He conceded 4 takedowns inside that fight. He did have 2 sub attempts. Austin Vanderfield got him down, then obviously Danny Barlow beat him as well. We will just look at the matchup. It's an average fight time of 8 minutes to 13. Nico Price has a 2 inch reach advantage. He is 1 inch shorter. He lands 5.3 strikes, takes 5.5 strikes to 3.2 and 2.4 takedowns, probably in Nico's favour. Not really much takedown actually from either of them. I'm going to go on a bit of a limb and say that the hybrid actually picks this one up and gets it done. Next we move into Vinicius Oliveira, who is the main event, and personally to me I think will beat Mario Bautista. I think he is just so explosive and just so genuinely hard to read. I think Bautista will not be able to get into his rhythm like he is against a lot of fighters. Usually people start very, very slow against Bautista because he forces them. I have a feeling that will not happen to Vinicius Oliveira. I go on a limb and say Vinicius Oliveira could get the finish inside of this fight, and it wouldn't even surprise me because I do think Vinicius Oliveira, the stats between the two of them, of course Vinicius Oliveira lands 5.2 strikes to 5.5 from Mario Bautista. He absorbs 4.1 to 2.8. He has the takedown actually, Luke, and he has not really ever been taken down in many of his fights. Vinicius Oliveira, the realistically only one was probably Said Nurmagomedov and maybe Ricky Simon, but he has fought some higher quality people. The flying knee knockout was brilliant. His performance against Said Nurmagomedov looked brilliant. His kind of performance versus Kyler Phillips when he knocked him down looked brilliant. I do genuinely believe that Mario Bautista has obviously fought some killers, but the Patchy Mix fight, Jose Aldo, both kind of, stalling more than anything else, and then of course took 11 takedowns against Usman or Umar. So, I have to say Vinicius Oliveira, just for the explosiveness and really the hard reading sort of style. You can't really download a lot on Vinicius Oliveira. I genuinely believe that this will come in handy for him. Maybe the finish is live, the finish could be live, but I won't play it too risky. And then Eduardo Mora is going to be the last fighter here. She is fighting Kong Wang. Now look, I understand the odds. It's the same as when Kong Wang lost her first fight. She's the higher, more experienced kickboxer. She fought Valentina Shevchenko, blah blah blah. If we're being realistic, besides the Buna Bazil win, there's really not a lot on her. Eduardo Mora, to me, is 3-1 currently in the UFC. She's only lost to Denise Scum. She was a pound over, but she only lost to Denise Scum. She's beaten Lauren Murphy in a great performance and Verona Hardy. At 3-1, I think this could be a steal. I think Eduardo Mora is one of the better bets on this card, because Conway, I still think it's proven that she's a good kickboxer, but her cardio is lacking, and when she hits the ground, she really doesn't know what to do. And I think Eduardo Mora could definitely exploit all those holes. But I will just say decision. And look, I'm not going to talk too much about it. If you do, I can't show the ACA, but the ACA should be back around 41 quid. But anyways, if you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button or hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.